Atomic Monsoon.
Welcome to the Monsoon.
Hey, everybody! Welcome back to Atomic Monsoon, the maelstrom of pop culture discussion. Hey, so it's just me and Josh in the studio today. Mm-hmm. We realized that it turns out getting three people to all be on the same schedule is a little trickier than we thought.
It is a little bit.
And we've missed several shows over the holidays because of that. So we're just gonna wing it from now on. If we only get two of us, great. If we can get all three of us, perfect. If we can only get one of us, we're gonna find a guest. But this week,
or I may just talk at you for an hour straight. We'll see what happens.
I could certainly do that.
Yeah, I mean, I can sit here and talk about a comic for an hour straight and bore everyone to tears.
Yeah. This week we've got me and Josh, but we also do have a special guest.
Ooh.
We have a friend of mine, the author Tom Levine. Tom, say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. That was a gimme. I apologize.
No, I set that up exactly. You hit it out of the park. Tom and I have been friends for, 10, almost 15 years, probably.
15 sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. That's. I was going to say too long, but that's not true. That's not long enough.
Well, the good news is neither of us have changed, so we've got that going for us.
Well, I did get my hair cut last week.
What?
Yeah. Well, I donated it, but.
Okay. Wow. Short?
No. I cut a foot and a half off, and I had about 2 feet. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not quite to my shoulders yet.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Scared me.
Yeah. So Tom, you've written some stuff.
I've written some stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Couple things.
Why don't you give us a quick introduction of yourself? But we're mostly not just going to be interviewing you for an hour.
Oh, okay. That sounds, I guess, good.
Yeah.
So, I started, my first novel came out in 2010. It was called Party, and it was, I was told that it was young adult contemporary fiction, which is kind of a long phrase for John Hughes, basically, is what that means. And I had no idea that that's what I had written. That's just what we ended up selling, and I happened to catch sort of a rising tide at that point that genre was becoming kind of the thing. So that worked out very nicely for me. Most everything I've published with traditional publishers like Random House, Simon & Schuster, have been in that genre or subgenres of it, like horror, for example.
Yep.
Last year, I was really excited. Last year, my horror novel Hell World was a Bram Stoker Award finalist, which was pretty. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was that's probably one of my favorite things that's happened in the last 10 years or so. So currently 9 traditionally published novels out. The last one was Mercy Rule, and that was, I think February of last year.
Was it that long ago already?
I think it was, man. Yeah.
I feel like it was 2 weeks ago.
I know. I'm pretty sure it was like February, March of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, that went fast. And then the other thing that there have been some really fun things that have happened as a result, one of which I got to work on, I think 4 or 5 issues of Spawn with Todd McFarlane 2 years ago now, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I have, it's at least 5 because I have them all. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That was not something I ever expected to do, but that was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And so I've just been doing that, and I've self-published a few things, mostly horror novellas and some writing texts that are all on Amazon and various, the usual e-platforms. And then I do a lot of teaching and speaking here in town, here in Arizona, and all over the country. And I got to go to Germany once on a 10-day book tour with the U.S. Embassy. That was really cool.
How was that?
Very fun trip. That was the coolest thing ever, and it blew my mind. I had been out of the country once my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
I went to London for a week, and when you're 15, you don't really appreciate the trip, I don't think. I was like, hey, they'll serve us wine at the Pizza Hut. Like that.
Right. Yeah, very different set of priorities.
Very different. Very, very different. Whereas this time I got to go, I was a little bit older, and I got to go with my wife, and I was, by the time we got home, I think the number one takeaway for me was the impact that being surrounded by oceans has had on this country. Like, we are so isolated compared to other nations in the world. It really, really has gone a long way towards defining our culture and our characteristic, I think. Versus in Germany, we were talking with everybody speaks English, by the way. Like literally everyone there speaks English or 3 or 4 languages.
Sure, right.
I met a kid, a high school student. I think he was 15.
Okay.
And we were talking to him about language, and he spoke, I think, German, Spanish, something else, like Italian maybe or something. And then he's like, well, Latin, but not very well. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah, I barely speak English very well, so.
Exactly. Oh, I know. So that was interesting. And then some of the hosts we were with were like, well, next time you come, because there's apparently a next time.
Sure.
Like, we'll just drive down to the Italian coast and catch fish and have a fish fry and all this. I'm like, what do you mean drive to Italy? Like, it's like a flight. Like, no, it's like a couple hours from here. Like, what?
Yeah.
That's insane.
So you grew up in Arizona, though, right?
Correct. Born and raised.
Right. So being from Massachusetts, I can say that like even just Massachusetts is a much smaller state physically than Arizona, and even that difference is to me going to a different state doesn't sound like a big deal because my mom's best friend is in Rhode Island. I have relatives in Connecticut and New Hampshire and Vermont. So like we were driving state to state all the time.
It's definitely a culture shock when you come from a big state and you go to a little state.
Right.
Like I had that experience when I went northeast, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, hey, we're going to drive over to Jersey, for the day." And I'm like, "What do you mean for the day? It's going to take us all day to get over there. We're going to drive across the state."
Right. And it's like, no, it's like 45 minutes away.
It's like a half-hour drive.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
No, that's a flight where I come from.
Right. Yeah.
Any state is a flight away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
It was a very good trip. I was very fortunate to do it. Learned a lot about our country and how other things work in other parts of the globe. And I came away really thinking that it's this idea, and I believe it originated these many years ago in Europe, this idea of the kind of the year off and to go and travel and all that kind of stuff. And it sounds so like entitled, I guess. But now that I've been on that trip, I'm like, oh yeah, no, get out. You have got to get out. I don't care where you go, but get out of this country for like at least a couple months, if not longer. A year would be better, and see how the rest of the world operates, and it will completely change your perspective, I think.
Yeah. I tend to agree with that. And again, even just going from one side of America to the other. And I just got back. I visited for Thanksgiving, and then I had to go back for a funeral like a month later. And even just those quick couple of trips, just in the last couple of months, it's like New England and Arizona are so different. Like it's still America. Everyone's still speaking English, but like just even the environment and like the like biosphere in the two areas is just so entirely different that it felt like I was in almost a different country.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think I had a trip several years ago to Atlanta, and I was like, what's all this green stuff? Like, there's green everywhere. What the hell? Yeah. It's insane. Yeah, it is. It's very different like that. Yeah, I agree.
There was a trip I took a couple of years ago, 2012, actually. I remember specifically I came back to Arizona in August, and I came from, Massachusetts where everything was green and everything was lush and trees, and it was middle of summer, right? And I come back here to the desert and everything just looked dead. And I was like, I remember looking out the car door on the way back from the airport, car window rather, and just thinking it looked like the surface of Mars. Like it was flat and brown and dead. And I was like, okay, all right, like this is where I am now. Why am I here?
It's one of the things, it is something that I used to avoid in my writing, and now I've kind of plunged headlong into it, is talking more about living in Phoenix and the culture of Phoenix and the culture of the state. Because from what I've heard, there are still particularly younger people who haven't had a chance to travel as much, whatever. People like back east, where you're talking about, who think we still ride horses to work and stuff.
Yeah, or that our state is an entire desert. They think our entire state is just one big cactus farm.
I will tell you, before I moved out here, I thought everyone still lived in like grass huts and rode the horse and buggy, or it looked like a John Wayne movie.
Yeah, they literally think we all live in adobe houses and there's no water anywhere. Everything's dead. Yeah. It's an interesting culture thing, and I've begun trying to, because I do love it here. This is, I think, I was born and raised here, and I'm kind of a desert rat that way, and getting to
talk more about it and describe more of it in the books of late has become kind of a focus of mine, and trying to let people know, like, we were the 6th largest city. Are we the 5th now, I think?
Oh,
I think we moved up.
In terms of population? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I have to
Yeah.
look that up. I know we're constantly growing.
Right.
Yes.
And we're one of the fastest growing cities in the country. So I would
Yeah.
imagine if we haven't passed that mark, we will be soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty close if we haven't.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun.
And yet the buses still only run once every 35 minutes.
Well, infrastructure was never our strong suit.
I will say that the grid layout of the streets is fantastic, and is, compared to Massachusetts, where everything is just the path that the horse and buggy could go on, because we can't go through that. There's a rock there, right? Here it was like, well, everything's flat, so let's just make a nice, north, south, east, west grid, and
Yeah, man. Straight
yeah.
lines and a couple circles. We're good.
right, yeah, and just Grand Avenue going diagonally across the city. Yeah.
And see, I hate Grand Avenue for that very reason. Like, that throws me, man. I will avoid because I went to New Jersey once on a trip, and
Right.
they had those roundabout things, and I'm like, thank God I wasn't driving. I would still be there. Like,
Whatever you do,
look,
don't-
it's Big
don't go
Ben
down to
Parliament. It
Tucson
was one of
anytime,
those
Reed.
things,
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go down to Tucson anytime in the near future. Then, if you try to drive down Grand down there, or Grant, whatever it is, it's a nightmare now. They put in these things called Michigan left turns that are just, if you want to make a
my
left
God.
turn, you have to go
Go right.
a mile down and get to a stoplight, and then go like past the stoplight, make a U-turn, and come back down the road the other direction.
goodness.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
crazy.
no thanks.
I think I remember it being at a 6-way intersection when I was back for Thanksgiving at one point.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Just because that's how the streets converged. There were 6 streets, and 2 of them were parallel, and it was
Nope.
like, all right, like this is what we get for not plowing the city first. I don't know.
All right, well, here, I got a question for you. So, since you're an author, and I've only gotten to start reading one of your books so far, just starting on Sick, and I got a question is like, who are your biggest influences as far as your writing goes?
Stephen King for sure.
Okay.
It probably goes without saying these days, I suppose. But I grew up reading him way too young. I don't know no one was paying any attention to what I was reading. So I grew up with all of his, particularly the short story collections like Night Shift and Skeleton Crew.
Okay.
Those were a big influence on me. I think I started reading him in like 5th grade. And like I said, nobody stopped me. So I just jumped into it and patterned a lot of my early writing after his, because that's what we do when we start off. We kind of mimic, or in some cases just flat out steal or copy the people that we're reading. And that's how we learn.
You write what you read, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that for sure, Stephen King. A lot of the old pulp horror guys that are still around, I wouldn't say Dean Koontz is pulp necessarily, but he was around back then. And then who's the other guy? John Saul, I think, who is an interesting writer, a very different type of writer, but still kind of in that genre. And then I would say, frankly, a lot of film, because I grew up in the heyday of anything that was scored by John Williams, I got to see. It was usually back when we had the real what I would call the real Cine Capri here in Phoenix, where there was literally no aisle of in between the seats. It was just one big ass auditorium. And I think Star Wars was my very, very first movie I saw. I was probably 6 or 7 when I saw Star Wars for the first time. And those films, all the Steven Spielberg films, Jaws, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, of course, all those, huge impact on, I think, storytelling and kind of structure and what the hero is supposed to do. A lot of that's changed over the years. We didn't have anti-heroes so much back then, I don't think, the way we do these
Mostly
days.
just in comic books,
Yeah,
really. It was mostly
Yeah.
just in the comic books.
Right. And I didn't grow up with comic books. I was introduced to them much later, kind of in high school, and started becoming a little bit more. I think Wolverine was probably the first anti-hero I was ever really introduced to. Like, wow, this guy.
That's about right. Yeah.
Whoa. So okay, so I'm not alone, right?
No.
No.
So yeah, those are probably the biggest influence, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying so far. Sick. It's good so far.
Thank you.
Do you have other types aside from like the horror, or is that mostly your focus?
I would say in terms of the stuff that I've published so far, yeah, there's I would say 2 or 3 horror / thriller genre, and then the rest of them have been more contemporary realistic. So kind of like, I made the John Hughes joke, but it's true. It's kind of like the
Party is kind of a John Hughes movie as a novel. Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
I mean, come on.
Oh no. But it's a group of kids learning about themselves and each other and stuff like that. It's probably, I hope, a little bit more realistic and gritty than John Hughes was back in his day. Although it's a shame that he's gone, because I'd be curious to see what his response to modern adolescence would be, because it's different. It's not as different as a lot of older people think it is, but it is different. So,
and John Hughes movies definitely weren't very edgy. There wasn't much edge in Shermer, Illinois.
There was, but it was it wasn't blatant.
Yeah.
And it was stuff that was a little more socially acceptable back then.
Yeah.
Right? Because there is, there's a scene in Breakfast Club where Bender is under the table, poking it at Molly Ringwald and stuff, and it's like, okay, that's...
In retrospect,
yeah.
At the time, nobody really noticed.
Right.
Is the thing.
Right, yeah.
And the thing, when he pitched The Breakfast Club, all the producers were like, no one's going to watch a movie about a bunch of teenagers sitting around talking. And they were probably right until the movie came out, and then discovered, oh, yes, they will.
People will watch
this. Hey, no one has ever made this movie before, therefore we don't want to make this movie because we don't know what it will do.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the story of Hollywood always.
Isn't that how all the biggest movies are, right?
Even now it's going that way. Oh, we don't want to make a female superhero movie, and then one of them comes out, oh, that made a lot of money.
Yeah.
We should probably make some more of those.
Yeah.
Even with
that's a quick on the uptake.
Right. Superheroes aren't great movies. X-Men comes out, makes a bunch, we need to start doing superhero movies again.
Yeah. And then Spider-Man came out and doubled what they did, so
Everybody was scared after the nipples on the bat suit. Understandably. But,
Oh, man. I hadn't thought about batsuit nipples in a long time. Thank you. That's
Unfortunately, it's scarred into my brain. I think about it too much.
It's so true.
I wake up in cold sweats. Bat nipples. Oh, man. Well, Andy, what's going on in nerd culture today?
Well, I don't know. Lots of stuff. So last night, I finished rereading IDW's entire Transformers run.
Nice.
And then this morning, I decided I wanted to read some more comics. So I checked out a couple of things that actually we had been talking about on the show before.
All right.
The Conan the Barbarian series has started up.
Okay, I read the first two of those as well. I'm interested to see what you think.
I just read the first one this morning. It's Jason Aaron and Mahmoud Assur. I probably butchered that name.
I'm not sure on how to say that.
I really dug the first issue.
Yeah. I dug the crap out of the first one.
Yeah.
Didn't like the second one.
Really?
Yeah. I kind of felt like the first one was like, all right, I'm going with this. And the second one just... I don't know. I'm a big fan of the old Conan comics. I used to get the those giant sized ones that they used to sell.
The big treasure editions.
Yeah, I used to get those all the time when I was a kid, and just the first issue felt like, all right, we got Conan back, and the second issue was like, this doesn't feel like Conan. The character himself just felt a little out of place, but it's only the second issue,
right?
So it's not really like I'm not judging the series or anything. It's just I was like, the first issue I was so hyped. The second issue went.
And so there's a couple things that happened there, right? In the old Roy Thomas days of Conan, right? It was one issue was one story.
Yeah.
And now comics are very much one story is 5 or 6 issues.
Yeah.
Right. And the first issue of the new one was almost double sized, I want to say. And I noticed that there were no ads in it that weren't Marvel House ads.
Yeah, there was everything was in house.
Yeah,
so,
and they did and even then, like it felt like there were fewer ads than normal.
Yeah, and with the price of comics today, that one felt like it was worth the $5 I paid for it.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like I was getting gypped like I have. Felt like that was some of not necessarily either company or any of the, you know what I mean? Just like
comics
that
in general.
$5 price tag is starting to getting rough.
So it's nice that number 2 was only $4. Yeah, and number 2 is it feels like that's probably actually going to be the start of the first story arc.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Like I'm looking forward to the art I really liked.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see how everything goes. I mean, I don't expect every issue of every comic to be fantastic.
No, but it was a good start to that new series.
Yeah, no, that first issue was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was enough to make me go, okay, I'm going to try reading this. We'll see what happens.
Is this a reboot, or are they starting over, or what have they decided to do?
Kind of. Marvel has Conan now, so this is like the reboot within Marvel.
Yeah, so it kicks off where they're not starting over from scratch. Like, this isn't Conan's first adventure or anything, but they sort of frame it where the first couple pages is like, so there's this guy called Conan. You've probably heard of him by this point, and eventually he became king. But this is some stories about what happens to him before that. And so the first part is kind of a flashback, and then the end of the story is, okay, now that that's over and he's king, hey, that character came back, and now he's got to deal with that.
Okay.
So, so it is a soft reboot. None of the stuff that Dark Horse has been publishing over the last 15, almost 20 years. Yeah. I don't think any of that's going to be in continuity, although I have seen that Marvel's reprinting a bunch of that stuff in new graphic novels, which is cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Wow, so they bought the whole thing.
They have the rights to Conan now. Yeah.
Why?
Whole kit and caboodle.
Because they made a lot of money off Star Wars a few years ago, and maybe they think they can do it again with Conan.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, who knows?
Probably Dark Horse's license expired, and Marvel thought, well, they've been doing pretty good with Conan. Maybe we should give that a shot, because they first got the Conan license in like 77, I want to say, and they held it until like the mid 90s. So they like most Conan comics are Marvel books.
Yeah, those giant-sized ones were I remember those. Those were getting those at the gas station, the gigantic magazine.
Yeah.
Like 6 years old and it's as big as my torso.
Right. Was it the old Savage Sword stuff that was in black and white too?
Yeah. They were I'd get those and I'd color the crap out of them and everything as a kid. Like I loved those, man. I was a Conan nut.
I've got
just because. Just giant comic book that was almost as big as me, and I can sit there and color it. Right. It was great. Yeah. It was so much fun.
That's fantastic. I've got a handful of those, and they're a lot of fun to. I like the one-shot stories, especially with stuff like Conan and Red Sonja, where like, hey, it doesn't matter that I don't have the full run. Like, I can just read an issue and like, okay, cool. Like, there's that adventure, and the last page is like, oh, and here's what's going to happen next issue. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of nice because they didn't have like super connected stories, but they have like kind of like, oh, hey, this character pops up again, and continuing like, oh, Conan's fighting him again. Yeah. And this is why they don't like each other, and kind of thing.
Right.
But it wasn't like, oh, I didn't read the last issue, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
No. So
the last page is the next time on Conan.
Yeah. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah. But speaking of reboots, now that you mentioned that, Boom Studios put out the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot comic.
Yeah. I haven't seen that yet, but
it just came out 2 days ago as of this recording. So it came out this past Wednesday, the 24th or whatever that was. Mm-hmm. I don't know what day it is.
Wait, so you mean, did Whedon stop his run?
Yeah, so strangely.
When was that?
So it just happened in like October. Like it just ended. Season 10 was like the 10 or 11. Like it only lasted like 5 or 6 issues, and then like that was it. Like it got cut off.
It might have been the start of 12, actually.
It may have been.
I think it was.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Because I know season 10 ended, and they started a new one with another character that was just bizarre.
Okay.
So unless that one didn't end.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I read most of season 8 when that came out, and I didn't keep up with season 9. So. But Whedon's still, quote unquote executive producer on the new one. But Jordi Belair, who's normally a colorist, is writing this one. And I picked that up, and it is a straight like hit reset on everything reboot.
Really?
Yeah. It opens up like Buffy meets Willow and Xander on like page 3. And we meet Giles on like page 6. Yeah. It is a straight like Buffy has just moved to Sunnydale. Willow and Xander are best friends. She already knows Giles, and like they catch her killing a vampire outside of the fast food restaurant that they're at.
So this one also takes place post movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay, so the movie has happened. But
so it's not a complete reset. It's,
right.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And Buffy does look like Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Willow looks like Allison Hannigan, and Xander looks like Nicholas Brendan. Is that
yes,
right?
Correct.
Giles looks like Anthony Stewart Head, and Anya looks like Emma Caulfield.
Oh wow, she's already in it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyanka's already there.
Well, we don't know about Anyanka. There is just a girl named Anya in it that looks like Emma Caulfield.
Yeah.
So. And Joyce kind of looks like Christine Sutherland, but not quite.
Did they bring back Cordelia?
Haven't seen her yet. Don't know. The only scenes we've seen at the school take place in the library, and there's like one in a hallway where
Gotcha.
The Buffy and Willow and Xander see Buffy go into the library.
Yeah.
So nothing.
But if Whedon has anything to do with this, you can't rely on any of that.
That's absolutely true.
There's no telling what is actually happening if he had a hand in it.
Yeah.
That's
Just for the record.
Yeah, because if you read the other comic stuff that he did for the post-TV series, it went off the rails at some points. It's just bizarro world. Like, just, what am I... This is Buffy?
Yeah.
It was a strange acid trip on some of those issues, man.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
What was I guess it doesn't matter if it's spoilers now, but the guy that Angel played for a while with the hood, that got
in the comic
nuts.
I can't remember. Yeah, he had the mask and everything, and he was like some ultimate bad guy, and then it turned out it was Angel.
Was it Twilight? Was that his name?
I think it might have been.
It was Twilight.
Okay, it was Twilight.
You're right.
Which was an ironic, a weird coincidental name.
I think they were trying to poke fun a little bit at the Twilight vampires.
I think they came out at the same time. I think it was just one of those
I think the books were already out when they.
Okay, they may have been, but they weren't Twilight yet.
No. It wasn't the craziness that it was yet. I think it was a tongue-in-cheek, like, his name's Twilight. Oh, guess what? It's actually a vampire.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I think that was the rub on that one. But yeah, like that whole thing went crazy when they like birthed a universe. Like, it's like, what is going on? Yeah. Those comics got insane for a little bit. But I'm glad to see they're back. It'll be interesting to see how they go. Maybe keep it a little bit more grounded back just to vampires and weirdness.
Maybe. I mean, so far, it's there were a couple of vampires, and then someone showed up at the end, and it looked like Vampire Willow, but that could have just been the artist, coincidentally happened to have a similar hairstyle.
Maybe it's Drusilla.
Could be.
Because Drusilla had that long hair.
Yeah.
Skinny body thing,
Yeah. So there was someone that showed up at the end that I didn't recognize, but I feel like I was supposed to, but caricatures are only ever so good, right? And that's not a knock on the artist. It's also like, I haven't watched Buffy in probably a decade. So
there's your problem right there.
Like, this is so insane.
Right.
Like, it's kind of hard.
Right.
Got to do the thing like Kevin Smith when he introduces Cockknocker.
Yeah, it's like, hey, kids.
It's Mark Hamill. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun, and I bought it just like, well, let me see how this Buffy reboot is, because I do like Buffy, even though I haven't, I don't rewatch it every year or anything.
Yeah.
And and I knew we were gonna have Tom on this week, and I knew he's a big Buffy fan.
That's true.
Yeah, no, which is great. And I thought, let me have this so we have something to talk about. And
hey, well, Tom, did you read the Angel series as well that went on during the same time as the Buffy one? The comics?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think about the Angel?
After the Fall.
Yeah, after the Fall, and then all the continuation of that until they roped it over into to the Buffyverse. I thought the After the Fall stuff was better than the actual Buffy comics that we were putting out at the time.
I know I finished season 8 of Buffy for sure. Mm-hmm. We might have gone a little bit into 9, and I got to the conclusion of After the Fall, and then some of the little tiny sidebar spin-offs that happened with Spike and stuff like that. But then I think that's about when we stopped for financial reasons.
Yeah, no, understandable.
Couldn't quite keep it up. But
those Spike one-offs, though, they were fantastic as well. They did one of them with they brought back from the Angel, the TV show, what they did the episode with the puppets and everything, where everybody gets turned into they did a full issue with that. It's absolutely hilarious. One of my favorite comics of all time. I've got that one in hardback and everything just so I could keep that one. It's a great one.
Yeah, I did. I remember. Well, I'm there in my office. I've got a bunch of my signed stuff from various cons, and I've got an Angel After the Fall that was signed by Alexis Denisov.
Oh, nice.
That he's on the cover, and that one always was troubling for me, because when they killed him in Angel, it was such a great and earned death for that character, and such a great arc from the first time we meet him in Buffy, and then to bring him back and After the Fall as the ghost character was like, it's good to see you. I'm always happy to see you, brother, but you died. Like, can't we just have that Jenny Calendar moment of actual shit is real? Like, you're dead.
Yeah, at the same time, though, it kind of felt like I almost expected that for Giles or for Wesley, just because he was like basically the tragic character, you know?
Yeah.
Everything he touched always got just completely screwed. So at the end, he sacrifices himself and still gets screwed.
I think one of my all-time favorite television moments is with him in the Angel series, where the guy who he believes is his dad grabs what's her name, Fred, grabs Fred and is threatening to kill her, and he just unloads a magazine on this, like doesn't even hesitate, just empties it, and I was like, that's the boldest choice I have seen on television in forever. Oh my God, that was just genius.
Yeah,
then they kind of pulled the rug out a little bit, but
amazing.
It was they had some really good stuff, and I did not like Angel at first. I was a slow convert to Angel, but they really took it in sort of a very much more mature direction than Buffy was going to head, I think. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. But you know what? I mentioned Jay and Silent Bob a little while ago.
Sure.
And did you hear the news that the sequel got picked up?
I did hear that there has been some scuttlebutt about a sequel / reboot kind of thing. A studio
signed on with old Kevin Smith. They're going to start doing pre-production stuff, apparently. So
interesting.
Yeah, so we're going to get a sequel to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Should be should be very interesting.
I got to be honest, man. I probably about 2 years ago, it was like all the Kevin Smith stuff dropped on Netflix, and I was like, I haven't watched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back in a long time. And I got like maybe 40 minutes into it, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, man, I love that.
I loved it so much, but I don't know if my taste changed or just like I'm not where Kevin Smith was when he wrote that anymore or what. I mean, hey, it's been, when the movie came out, like 2001?
Somewhere around
something
there,
like that. So like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, hey, he's got, 18, 19, 20 years, whatever, more experience writing. So I hope it's something that, speaks to me now. But, that was, I was so sad that I was like, I used to love this. What happened?
I still watch it and just kind of think of where I was at the time when it came out. And it always just makes me laugh just because thinking of, situations and, where I was. I do that with a lot of movies. And I just, God, I love Jason. Will Ferrell in that movie just kills me still to this day.
Yeah. He's just,
well, he is insatiable. Loved that. Oh, man. But as a little bit of other news, you're a Nintendo guy. Did you hear about Metroid Prime 4?
I heard that it was happening.
Yeah, well, Nintendo announced today that they're just handing the reins on that over to Retro Studios. So the people that made the first one have been free and ready to start from scratch and just go make Metroid Prime 4.
That's...
Instead of Nintendo doing it in-house, they're like, no, we're just going to let Retro do it.
That's probably a good decision.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Retro did such a good job with the other Metroid Primes that they needed to be given this one, I feel like. And I can't wait for it now. Like, that will be, if I don't have a Switch by then, that will be what I pick up a Switch for sure. So I'm excited to hear about that. And also in gaming news today, if you're a fan of horror games, Resident Evil 2...
Yeah.
The remake came out today.
Yeah. One of my friends shared way too many screenshots of that on Facebook today, and I had to block him because some of them were really violent. And I was like, oh, no, I don't need to see this yet.
Yeah. Good old Resident Evil. But I'm excited about that one because they take both the characters in different directions. It's a remake of Resident Evil 2, but it's not a panel or a...
It's shot-for-shot remake.
I'm trying to think how to put that. Why did you put that in a video game? Not shot-for-shot or panel-for-panel. It's not a sprite-by-sprite remake.
Right. Because Resident Evil 2 still followed the format, right, where like you enter the room and you have like a fixed camera shot, right? And this one's more of just the over-the-shoulder third-person view most of the time, right?
That, and then also the first one you played through as one of the characters.
Right.
And then your next playthrough was more or less the same thing with the other character.
Okay.
And then you get another playthrough for it where it was like an alternate path for the characters, right?
Okay.
Whereas this one, they completely redid the majority of the story. It's still like the major plot points are going to be there. You're still in Raccoon City. There's still a zombie outbreak. You're still trying to get out of the city, and there's still going to be a bomb coming. But it's everything that happens in between is completely different.
Is it oh God, is it Jill and Leon?
Yeah, Leon and no, it's Leon and Claire.
Claire, okay.
Yeah, Claire Redfield and Leon Kennedy.
Right. So now Leon goes one way, Claire goes the other way, rather than just you play
the same you play through the same path. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't matter how you do it, you're going to get a different experience for both the characters. And it's Resident Evil, so I'm sure there's going to be, beat it this fast, you're going to get all kinds of unlocks and do this, do that kind of thing. So it should be fun. And I'm interested to see just the comparison between this and Resident Evil 7, because 7 was so good.
Was it?
And it was a first-person mode or version.
Okay.
But it was a return to the original Resident Evil as far as like the mansion and the puzzles and just the not having. I'm trying to think how to put it. Like the zombies or creatures that are coming at you slow, and it's more of like a slow terror, not this constant everything's coming at you fast like they were doing with 6 and 5 and just over action. It was a lot more strategic and return to the original Resident Evil.
I gotta be honest. I think the only Resident Evil games I really spent any time with were the first one and then 4 on the GameCube.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, horror is not my scene.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. One of these days I might have to let you borrow a GameCube, and I've got like the remake of 1, 2, 3, and...
I'm pretty sure there's 3 GameCubes in my house, actually.
Oh, are there? Okay.
Well, between me and all the roommates, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's one of the things I loved about the GameCube. They put out that remake Resident Evil 1, and then they put out... It was just a direct port of 2 and 3.
Right, with like the upgraded graphics?
Yeah. Well, no, 2 and 3 were just direct ports.
Oh, okay.
They were just... It was slightly... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but 1 was completely redone.
Okay.
Like, 2 is this time.
Right, because wasn't it Resident Evil 0 was the remake of the first one?
No, Resident Evil 0 was an entirely new one for the GameCube.
Yeah, see,
And that one took place right before 1 did with, and I can't remember her name. There was the little medic girl that you rescue in the first one if you're playing as Chris.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name off the top of my head. But it was that. So it was leading up to 1, and then they put out the remake of 1, which is continuation of the story, and then they put out the couple other ones, and then 4 came out for GameCube as well, which was
4 was a lot of fun.
Such a good game.
Yeah. Tom, what's your Resident Evil history, if any?
Not very much.
Okay.
Not very much.
Yeah.
I think currently my game systems consist of a PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2.
So
that
really,
is...
just a PlayStation 2 then.
Still though, good Resident Evil games on both those platforms.
It's true.
Some Code Veronica, some original, Resident Evil, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3.
It's the first 10 years of Resident
Evil.
Evil.
There was a bunch of really bad Resident Evil games on the PS2 as well.
Were there?
Yeah.
I think I have one of those.
Yeah,
I have one.
Like Outbreak or something like that. It was like a first-person like corridor shooter. It was really bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there was one I tried for a half hour to an hour. It's like, nope, not really, not happening.
So are you a bit of a retro gamer there?
Yeah, mostly because I'm old and I don't have the patience for anything else.
No, that's fair.
Tend to beat a game and then play that one over and over again. That's been my MO. Fair. Although I did recently discover Minecraft. My kid finally talked me into getting Minecraft for him on the Xbox. And,
it's just digital Legos. Isn't it so much fun?
It is really kind of cool. I'm a little stunned at how much fun it has been. It's a fascinating game, actually. We don't do we don't, because he's 7, so we don't allow any of like the multiplayer type stuff and the chatting and all that kind of stuff.
That's perfectly understandable.
Yeah, he just does the creative mode, but just the stuff that he comes up with. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, this Minecraft is like, I made the mistake of kind of like, oh, that looks terrible and stupid, and and then one day I actually tried it and went, oh my God, this is amazing, and then 100 hours later I had built insanity and
So that experience you just said, Josh, is why I haven't played it.
Yeah.
Because I know how I can be with things, and I know that like when I find the games that I like, that's kind of all I do for a little bit. And, I already have problems like not reading comics at times.
Right. Yep.
I took a day off, and my roommate showed up one day, and he was like, "Hey man, what'd you do today?" I was like, "Oh, I built these roads," and I heard what I said as I said it, and went, "Okay, I'm done playing Minecraft."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I years ago I downloaded the 10-day trial of World of Warcraft, and I was like, oh, this is dangerous.
Yeah,
like I can't do this.
Ever pick up.
Yeah, no, I played for the 10 days, and I played 9 of those 10 days, and I played about 9 days of those 10 days, and somehow managed to fit college and work in between Warcraft. And I was like, yep,
that's impressive. A lot of people can't do that. The reason I never touched those.
That's why I stopped.
Yeah, it's because I was thinking about it, and then right when I was thinking about starting to get into that or the first Final Fantasy Online one, a friend of mine started going through a really nasty divorce because he was playing too much of those games, and his wife was going, it was like, I don't think I want to get into that. It just sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah.
I like video games too much. I don't need one that's addictive.
Right, and addiction runs on both sides of my family already, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's why I stay away from cell phone games as much as possible.
Yeah, I think I'm down to just Scrabble on mine.
Yeah, there you go.
Or Words with Friends, whatever not Scrabble version everyone's playing. Yeah. I haven't dug into Minecraft because of that. So
That's fair. That's fair, man. A little bit of television news.
Okay.
Daredevil season 2 came out and abruptly got canceled.
3.
Oh.
Or not Daredevil, I'm sorry. Punisher season 2.
Oh.
And abruptly got canceled. I apologize.
Okay.
Oh.
It's good. I was thinking of Daredevil because
Yeah.
that also got canceled while we were on break.
Yeah, it's kind of like Disney said they're going to do their own streaming service and pull all their stuff off Netflix, and Netflix said, "Fine, we're not going to make any more of your shows, Disney."
Yeah. You want us to pay what to keep the license?
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So,
I
have
gotta-
fun with that. You can't do anything with it for 3 years.
I got to be honest. As soon as Disney said we're doing a streaming service, like, oh, so all the Marvel shows are over.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I pretty much knew that immediately.
Yeah.
But season 2 had one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen on a television show.
Yeah?
In a couple of the episodes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just the choreography in that. They should have hired whatever guy did that for Iron Fist. There were some great fight scenes, and I need to find out because just the way they looked, it looked a lot like in Aquaman when they were doing his fight scenes, just making him just beating the crap out of people, just indiscriminately. It was a lot of that, just the Punisher going crazy, and it was a lot of fun to watch. The villains were kind of meh,
who were those fight scenes against? Any named characters at all, or were they just against
trying to
random
see if I can-
thugs?
Not to spoil later episodes, the first one that you get you into the episode is just against thugs.
Okay.
Just nameless people. There's some really good fight scenes later on that are against other characters, but it's kind of spoiler to say who he's fighting later on because you don't really know what's going to happen as the season develops.
Okay. Okay.
I don't want to give anything away because it's just brand new. So it's kind of
Right.
oh yeah, he's fighting.
Yeah.
There's a character that's original to the Netflix show though that is a big major plot point in the series. So it was a really neat character. I enjoyed that.
Okay.
But yeah, the series or the show as a whole is great. I loved it.
Cool.
So it was a little bit slower than the first season, but I kind of expected that a little bit because Frank Castle's dead and everything.
And honestly, there's only so much you can do with the Punisher, anyways, right?
I mean, and after Dolph Lundgren, how are you going to protect that?
Yeah.
Wow, that hurt. That hurt.
I'm not gonna lie, I still enjoy that Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie.
That's
I'm
okay.
Not gonna lie.
That's we all have our things that we're just like, hey,
I think it's just because Dolph Lundgren and because of being a kid and he was He-Man,
Right.
it just is something about oh yeah, I'll watch Dolph Lundgren movie, sure.
Oh my God, that's
Made
awesome.
me giddy when he was in Aquaman just because of that. I was like, yes, he's the master of the universe.
I did not recognize him in Aquaman.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because he's got the red hair, right?
Yeah.
And so and he's old now, and
His voice, man, is so distinct to me. It just as soon as I hear it, I'm like, oh.
I was looking for Ivan Drago when I heard he was in it, and I didn't see Drago because A, he was wearing armor, and B, wasn't a boxer, and C, was red haired, and D, was old.
I don't know, man. Those cheekbones and that voice, just it's Dolph Lundgren.
As soon as my buddy was like, "No, that was Dolph Lundgren," I was like, "Ah, crap! It totally was." But just I didn't catch it right away.
Yeah. And speaking of Aquaman, it passed the 1 billion mark, so it's DC's most successful movie by far.
Wow.
And
That's better than the first phase of Marvel movies did.
yeah, well, it did gangbusters, especially overseas, man. It did gangbusters overseas. It outperformed a lot of movies overseas.
Why?
It was great.
What's the secret of Aquaman? What was?
It's Jason Momoa.
Oh, he's a good-looking man. Don't get me wrong, but really, is that it?
The thing about Aquaman is it's actually fun. It's a really fun movie.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saw it and they saw kind of this similar to the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer when that came out. It was one of those oh, really, Guardians of the Galaxy? They're like, nobody. And then you see the trailer and you go, oh, wow, that looks really neat.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with Aquaman. One of my family members that I took to go see it, he's actually the one that got me into comics when I was a kid, and he's always trashed Aquaman my entire life. He's always made fun of Aquaman, and it was mostly stemming from the Super Friends show and everything. And it cracked me up because I was like, yeah, we're gonna go see it. It's like, I don't want to go watch somebody talk to fish for 2 hours. It's like, come on, we're gonna go see it. And he walked out of the movie loving it. He was just like, okay. He's like, they redeemed him from the cartoon when I was a kid. He's like, I gotta give it up. All right,
so I actually won tickets to go see it for free, and got to see it on the IMAX that way, which is great. But then a couple weeks later, my mom came down, and we do Christmas movies, right? But she's up in Sedona now, so she comes down. We do usually the weekend before, and so I took her and my brother. and we went, and at the end of the movie, my mom liked it, and my mom doesn't like action movies.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. So it was something about that movie. Like there's just kind of something for everyone.
It's James Wan is what it is.
The director?
Yeah,
could be.
I really do think it is. Like that guy. I don't like Fast and the Furious movies.
Sure.
I really liked the one that he did. I didn't know he had even done that one.
Okay.
And I'm a fan of him with the Conjuring universe and everything. I didn't even realize he had done that Fast and the Furious movie until they went, oh yeah, he has 2 franchises that made over $1 billion in a single movie. And I went, what?
Whoa.
Like, what are you talking? What other? Like, it's got to be something from the Conjuring, right? I didn't know those did that well. Nope, Fast and the Furious movie.
Huh.
Yeah. So he's got over 2 $1 billion movies under his head. Him and James Cameron, the only 2 people to have a single movie in 2 different franchises by one director to make over $1 billion.
Oh my God, that's insane.
It Avatar and Titanic for Cameron? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I don't even know if you can get those as franchises, but okay.
Well, actually, no, I think it might have been the Terminator and Titanic that they counted because it's franchises. Or not Titanic, Terminator and Avatar.
Avatar,
I think it might have been like
I don't
one
know.
of the Terminators.
I don't know if
I think because Terminator 2
but-
gets adjusted for inflation.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
I think that's how it
Yeah, it's
works. Yeah.
In 1991 money, that did not make $1 billion.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. So that we can keep some of those older directors like, come on, man. Like, this movie, everybody in the world saw this movie, but it'll cost $2 to go see it. That's not fair. They adjust for inflation.
I mean, Terminator 2 is my favorite movie, and I own like 17 copies of it somehow.
It's like, Jaws is one of the most financially successful movies of all time, but
but it made $8.
Yeah,
because tickets were a nickel.
Today's cent. Yeah, exactly. So it's just one of those things. Like they got to adjust for those kind of things to do it, but not James Wan though, because those movies have come out within the last couple years.
Yeah.
So got to give him credit where credit's due.
Speaking of movies that are making surprisingly a lot of money, I saw Bumblebee last weekend.
Oh yeah, you know what? Somebody else told me that it was really good.
I avoided it. The story of me with the live action Transformers movies is I went and I saw the first one wearing a Decepticon shirt, and I walked out of that movie with my hoodie zipped up. And Tom, you know how big of a Transformers fan I am, right? Like
I do.
The first time I was over your house, I went through your toy box and built Devastator.
Yep.
Which I didn't even own as a kid. Like I'd never built a Devastator before. I was like, these are all Constructicons. Wow. I can figure this out.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And I was like, okay, I didn't see any of the other live action ones, and I just kept hearing like Bumblebee's pretty good, Bumblebee's pretty good, Bumblebee's pretty good, and I went and saw it, and I'll tell you, Bumblebee's pretty good.
That's what I heard too.
It's not great. It's not gonna change your mind, but it's not gonna you're not gonna be like, well, I hated Transformers before, but I love them now, unless you're, 8.
See, a couple people that I talked to said that it changed their mind enough to where if they make another one, they'll go see that one. As long as it has to do with this Bumblebee movie or something going forward with these people.
Yeah.
Like that was enough to where people were like, you know what? I wouldn't have gone and seen anything from the number Transformers movie, and I saw this as just a one-off, and it worked.
Someone uploaded on the Transformers subreddit a couple weeks ago, or last week, just like the first minute and a half of the movie, and it's all a big CGI set piece of Optimus and RC and Ratchet and Brawn and like all the original G1 Transformers looking like updated Generation 1 Transformers.
Nice.
And like Soundwave and Starscream and Skywarp and like Shockwave and like all like they're all like, yeah, I know who that character is just by glancing at him because he looks like he did in the old cartoon.
Nice.
And just that first couple minutes, I was like, okay, that was really cool. I watched this on my phone. I kind of want to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that was
okay.
One of my biggest problems with the first of the Transformers numbered movies was because I was always a fan of the Decepticons. And like Starscream's my favorite. And it's like that doesn't look like Starscream.
No, nor did he. He looked like a giant moldy Dorito.
Yeah, and kind of like I don't know, it was like a cockroach had a Dorito on his back and was flying through the air.
Right,
like,
right.
It was really weird looking.
And he didn't have the Cobra Commander voice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't going to be leader of the Decepticons.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like, as you command, Megatron.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, all right, well, that's not exciting at all, right?
And I could even get them doing like a slight character change if they at least made him look like Starscream. So you'd be like, oh yeah, the red and white one, that's Starscream.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay,
right.
You know.
No, but he was brown and tan
And silver mostly?
and kind of silver. Well, all of them are gunmetal and silver in the Michael Bay movies.
Much,
I don't know who anyone is because they're all just big gray messes.
Yeah. At least the Autobots I could tell apart in the first Michael Bay one.
Because they all had colors.
Yeah, and
they were the wrong colors, but they were colored.
Resembled, you know what I mean? Like, okay, Optimus Prime's still a semi-truck. He's got flames on him for some reason.
Right.
But I get it.
Because you know all those 18-wheelers with flames on them.
Yeah. Some long time.
And Bumblebee was yellow. And Ratchet was neon green instead of white. And Ironhide was black instead of red. And Jazz was silver instead of white.
Yeah.
Because this is how you make things that the fans will like, I guess, is do everything wrong. Anyways, the Bumblebee movie did a lot less wrong.
Yeah. It made way less money.
But it also cost less money. Is the
That's
thing.
true. That's true. It cost a lot. It didn't have Michael Bay's explosion budget. So
no. I kind of want a sequel to that. I would go see it again if someone wanted to go see it. I would go. I would see a Bumblebee 2. And the other thing that's great is it's actually really safe for kids. Like there's nothing in that movie that's questionable. Unlike every part of everything I've seen about the Michael Bay movies.
Yeah.
Like there's no Megan Fox bending over the hood of a car, you know. there's no Bumblebee lubricating a human or anything. Like it's just a fun family movie about a girl that finds a VW bug that turns out to be an alien robot and they end up being friends.
That sounds so risky.
So it's like Mac.
I mean, in Hollywood terms, that sounds like a very risky move to make.
It's E.T.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's E.T. for teenagers.
Wow.
Or E.T. with teenagers, rather. Tom, honestly, if you took your son to go see it, like I think he would have a good time. And I don't think that there's anything in that movie that would be bad. Like I think it's actually safer than the '86 Transformers movie for a lot of kids.
Yeah, actually,
the '86 Transformers was a little dark.
As a matter of fact,
Optimus doesn't die in this movie, so
that's a good. I mean, he has the soundtrack. He knows what happens, but he hasn't actually had to see Optimus go down. So I'm a little apprehensive about that.
I was younger than him when I saw that movie,
and look what happened.
Look what happened. It's 30 years later, and I'm still obsessed with the damn things.
Well, hey, Tom, you know what? We are almost out of time, and I want to give you a chance to go ahead and plug your website and everything so people can get some of your books, because I just started the first one on reading of yours, and I'm loving it already, so I'm going to be reading it.
Thanks.
And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll lend you some more. Yeah. Keep them coming. So.
Yeah. I think I've got all 9 of your. I might have 11 of your books somehow, and you've only published 9. I don't know how that worked, but yeah.
Suspicious.
I lent Josh a couple of them. I gave him Sick and Hellworld and Rebellion, the Scorpion War.
Oh yeah, that is unpublished. That was just something I tried for Con as a marketing thing to see if it would work, and apparently it did because we sold out. So I don't know what's going to happen with that yet.
Okay, I didn't realize I owned a book that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
that's
impressive.
You do.
Okay, well you can read that one, and no one else will.
Yeah, I feel special.
Yeah.
Well, how do we get more of your books? How do we find you, man?
So the best way on any kind of social media, as long as you spell my last name correctly, which is Leveen, you will find me, Tom Leveen, at Tom Leveen on Twitter, Instagram. On Facebook, it's author Tom Leveen, and then the website is tomleveen.com. So any of those will work just fine.
Excellent. And I checked out your website yesterday, and you can order books straight off of that. So are you available on Amazon as well, or is it just through your website?
Yeah. No, Amazon is good. For all of the readers who are listening, if you have favorite authors, the number one best thing you can do to support an author is to buy books at the bookstore. Independents are good, of course. Barnes & Noble is a close second, and then Amazon is like third down the list.
Good to know.
And then, that's the number one. Or if you can't, and this is the other thing that a lot of people don't know, if you're one of these people like myself sometimes who cannot afford to buy brand new books at the bookstore, that's cool. Go get it at the library. If the library doesn't have it, throw a big tantrum at the librarian until they order it. That works too. That's totally okay. We get credit for that. So
hey, you know,
do not
also
avoid the library.
The book available for more people if they want to read it too. So that's actually not a bad thing either.
No, libraries are fantastic. We far from being, you don't get paid. No, we do. Going to the library and getting books is a fantastic thing to do.
Excellent.
And then, do we want to plug your YouTube thing that you do on Wednesdays?
Yeah, every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Arizona time, which is Mountain Standard, we do a YouTube show live stream that it's currently called Tom Levine Live because we haven't found another good name for it. And we go all over the place. We range around all kinds of topics, but coming up in the next couple weeks here, I'm going to have a local artist, Trent Gonzalez, who's really fantastic. We'll be talking about art and, making a living as an artist, that kind of thing. I'm going to have a retired crime scene investigator guy come in and tell us some of his more horrific stories and how authors use guys like that to work on books. And then I think I'm going to have a friend of mine or a couple of folks who have done some ghost hunting things. We're going to interview them and see what that's all about. We just kind of range all over the place. And again, if you just go to search Tom Levine on YouTube and you'll find me there.
Excellent, man. Well, thank you for being on the show today. We really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I guess that's it. Otherwise, you can find the rest of us. You can find us at Atomic Monsoon on Twitter and Facebook. It's atomic_monsoon on Instagram because for whatever reason our actual name was taken or just isn't available. It's not even taken. It's just we can't get available. It. Yeah. You can email us atomicmonsoon@gmail.com. You can listen to all of our episodes at atomicmonsoon.com. Just look for Atomic Monsoon on whatever thing on the internet and you'll find us probably.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
And you can always go to voiceamerica.com and just go to Atomic Monsoon and find links to everything.
And you can listen to us Sundays at 10 Arizona time or 10 Pacific rather. And find us on the Voice America Variety channel.
Yep, as well as Spotify and all kinds of other things.
Oh, right, we're on Spotify now.
Yeah, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Feel free to go back, download some old episodes, and definitely reach out to us. Let us know if there's anything particular you want to hear us talk about, or, if you want to try to get a specific person for an interview, we can try.
We can call them and they'll tell us no. Or like Tom told us yes.
Yes.
Tom was the first person I asked and he said yes.
It's amazing.
So far we're at 100%.
All right, everybody. Well, you have a great weekend. Be nerdy, and we'll talk to you guys next time.